No more stressful trips to the fitting room under fluorescent lights. With Armoire, you get to wear quality pieces without the hassle of adding to your wardrobe or paying designer prices. As a busy mom of three, I do know the importance of treating myself to something special, and Armoire allows me to prioritize quality over quantity in my wardrobe. Plus, Armoire is woman-founded and woman-led, so you can feel good about supporting a business that empowers women. If you're ready to have your dream closet delivered to your door, try Armoire today, and you'll never have to worry about finding the perfect outfit for any occasion again. Right now, my listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/minimalist. That's armoire.style, ARMOIRE.style/minimalist to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
In her newest daily devotional, New York Times bestselling author Lisa TerKeurst helps you to stay connected to God and continue loving others even in the middle of discouraging, disappointing, or even devastating circumstances. Experience 50 days of morning and evening devotions, complemented with beautiful color photography of significant locations where Lisa has worked through her own healing. I highly recommend this devotional for women that are going through hurtful situations that may have left you feeling worn out and unmotivated to spend time with God, or maybe for the woman who escapes loneliness by trying to heal on their own wisdom. Or maybe you're someone that is in a difficult season, but you need a reminder that though this may be a hard time, it will not be your whole story. Your difficult season doesn't have to be a time of numbing the pain or going through the motions. Let this devotional help you get intentional and know that, though this may be a hard time, as I said, it can also be a holy time. Listeners of the Minimalist Moms podcast can get an exclusive $2 off the Amazon price using the code 2MAKEIT at checkout. That's the number 2 plus make it when you purchase the book You're Going to Make It on Amazon.
Honestly, as my boys are getting older, I am realizing how much healthier it is the more I release the control over their becoming and the more I settle into my own becoming.
Hello and welcome to the Minimalist Moms podcast. I'm Diane. I'm a mother of three living in Columbus, Ohio. I'm trying to make room in my life for what matters by getting rid of the clutter and living life with purpose. I hope you'll join me on the journey to think more and do with less. Many Christians are stuck in an in-between space of trying to do too much or too little. What we call purpose or vocation or calling can seem elusive, but God's assignment for each of our lives has distinguishable boundaries that encourage us to live according to His will. These boundaries are what Heather MacFadyen is here to help people discover in her new book, Right Where You Belong: How to Identify and Fully Occupy Your God-Given Space. On today's episode, Heather answers questions such as, what do we do when life doesn't look the way we expect? Or how do we handle change as it relates to career, marriage, parenting, and more? Or why striving for purpose doesn't always lead us to the right purpose, how to better understand God's assignment for our lives, and more. As always with the bonus episodes, I do preface these episodes by saying if you are new around here, I release these bonus episodes that may serve a niche part of my audience. I have listeners of all faith backgrounds that listen to the podcast, and this episode is specifically coming from a Christian perspective. So if that is something that doesn't fit what you're looking for, check out the other episode that dropped this week with Dr. Rena Bliss about rethinking intelligence. I've actually heard a ton of great feedback on this one, so go check that one out if you haven't yet. Or join me back here next Tuesday for a conversation that you don't want to miss. All right, let's get into this conversation with Heather. Heather, thanks so much for joining me today on the Minimalist Moms podcast.
Oh, thank you, Diane, for having me. I'm thrilled to be with your people.
Thank you. Yes, I have listened to you. I mean, how long have you been podcasting? I can't remember.
It's a long time, since 2013. So I'm coming up on 10 years.
I was going to say, I feel like I started listening to your podcast in the early days of motherhood. So it was around 2014 that I probably started listening. And I mean, I consistently was listening to you. You were like a friend in my car, in my ear, in my walk. So it's really exciting to have you here. I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll get started on our topic.
Yeah, so I am married to Bruce, and we are celebrating 24 years coming up. of marriage. And then I have 4 boys that are ages 11 to 17. So pray for me. This is like hard. These teen years are about to do me in. I could cry at any moment. But, and then I have the podcast, Don't Mom Alone, which I'm clinging to even more so. And I have a book, Don't Mom Alone, and a new book coming out called Right Where You Belong.
Yes. And that's what you're here to talk to us about today. Your new book, Right Where You Belong, How to Identify and Fully Occupy Your God-Given Space. I want to just jump right in. And what prompted you to write this one?
So actually, when I pitched, in the whole book writing process, you write a proposal.
Okay.
And I actually pitched this book first. And I was going to call it The Good Place was my title, my working title. And several publishers asked, why are you not writing Don't Mom Alone? That's the obvious choice, right? You already have a brand, you already have an audience. And it felt too obvious to me. Like it felt too obvious and not interesting. And so I was pushing back on that. And then I actually applied the framework that's in this book and really felt led to write the Don't Mom Alone book first. And I made that choice in the fall of 2019. None of us knew, obviously, what was coming spring of 2020, and that the entire world would get to experience isolation. And I was writing this book to moms to avoid these isolating ideas that keep us out of community. And so anyway, the timing was great. And then because I launched that book and immediately needed to turn in the manuscript for this next one, it was a gift that I had already processed it. I'd already written out the proposal, and written sample chapters. And so I wrote it in like 2.5 months and it all just came out. So what motivated me to write like this idea came from a tweet that I saw. I saw this tweet. People try to define humility or this concept of being humble. Like you want to be around humble people who don't think too much of themselves. But this definition was different than I'd ever heard. It said the original, probably Hebrew, expanded what rabbis would teach their students was to fully occupy your God-given space. And the humility comes from recognizing, there's some divine or something outside of me that has allotted me in this time in history on this place in the planet with this unique set of gifts and interests with my own experiences. And the best thing I can do, the most humble way to live, is to really embrace those and step into that. And that might look like a big stage for some people. And that might be changing diapers today on a Tuesday or whatever day it is. I don't even know. Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm like, what day is today? Wednesday.
Yeah. It just helped clarify for me that this nebulous concept of your calling or like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? It simplified it to, it's like doing the thing right in front of me and trusting that that's enough. And the ripple effects that I have on the people around me, I'll never see sometimes, but just like leaning into that. And am I stewarding what I have? Focusing on your own thoughts and your own emotions and your own stuff. I know you were like talking to moms about their stuff.
Yeah.
That can occupy a lot of your time, all of your time and your energy.
Yeah. And I don't want time and energy and effort placed in the wrong places. I mean, for lack of a better word, because you're right. How am I to fulfill the things that I really need to follow through with and carry on with and carry out if I am, I guess, wasting time in other places that are totally tedious and unnecessary? They don't need to be there in the first place. And so I always say that that's why I want my house decluttered. And I'm going through a massive process right now where I'm nesting and I'm not pregnant, but what's my point in talking about this? I guess just talking about the effort placed in the things that you're right. It's harder to come into what God has given us if we are so focused and hyper-focused sometimes too on things that are just not worthy of our time. But I want to talk about clarity because I think that can be hard to discover or to hear or to know. Where are the places we're supposed to occupy? I have a friend and she was starting to have health issues. And she was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like, I don't know. Is that actually related? And so for her, it's like, where is your clarity? Am I supposed to look to the health issues as, oh, I shouldn't be doing this because they started to come back when I started doing this again? Or is this my ministry? I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
hard to be certain. So what would you say?
Well, I think it even connects with your example of the stuff in your home and how some things aren't working for you anymore. I think it's okay to have this hand open posture of like, we are in transition, we are in growth, we are moving and changing, and some things don't work for us. And that editing of that for a lot of people, and I don't know if this is true for you because we're just meeting, but for me, I have this fear of missing out. And for me, I had to do the work to recognize, oh, a lot of the anxiety I'm feeling, or a lot of the reason I'm saying yes to things, or literal things, the reason I'm saying yes to that cute pillow or yes to that opportunity is I'm afraid if I say no, I'm going to miss out. Or for me, I'm going to miss out on connection or on someone's approval or my hustling to succeed. And so I think for each person and for this friend or and whatever conundrum you're in on, do I keep doing this or do I let it go? What's the chicken or the egg? Is this thing causing this to be a problem? Is to really get curious about your thought process. And if you are considering letting something go that you've always been doing, ask yourself, why am I feeling like I need to let this go right now? Is it because I think I can't do it to the level of quality that I've always held myself to? And if I don't do it to that quality, then people won't listen and then I'll be rejected and I'm fearing rejection. Is it, I really need to care for myself. And in this season, my assignment right now is to care for my body and to not do this thing that's taking a lot of time. Is this thing causing me to be sick because I'm putting myself out there and I'm worried about what I'm saying and that I need to get some like outside therapy or help to figure out why that anxiety is causing me physical harm? You know what I mean? Like what I love about this concept of figuring out your space, and if you're filling it, it is such an individualized work where you are doing the digging with trusted people or with a professional or whatever religion or thing, spirituality you have, to do the work for yourself to say, okay, what is my space right now? What am I being assigned right now? And am I occupying it fully? Am I stewarding it well? Am I spending too much time and energy and attention on other people's spaces? Because that's what I find, especially with moms. When we want to talk about simplifying, being a minimalist, spend less time judging your friends and focus your energy on your own mental health and your own things that you can control, which is really only yourself, not even your kids. Like, are you getting into your kids' hoops and you're telling them how they should talk and you're telling them how they should act? And do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was talking to someone about JOMO. So it's the joy of missing out. And so if we just switch that voice in our head, those thoughts in our head, to something that is positive as opposed to negative, and thinking of the fear, thinking about the joy we have from saying yes to something and no to something else. So if it is friends going out and we don't have the opportunity to go out, think about the rest you may be getting at home, or choose to, if you don't have a babysitter and your husband's working late, it's like, maybe tonight I can't go out with my friends. I'm going to miss that connectivity with them. However, I'm going to use this time to take a bath, to read the book I've been wanting to read after my kids are in bed. And I'm seeing the joy in that. And so I think just flipping that switch in our head, it just has such a positive effect on us. But also, you do write about social media and comparison, which I talk about a lot as well, and wanting our lives to look different. And going back to what you're saying and having God speaking to us and allowing us to be individuals and using our experiences, how do we zone out and stay into our own lanes? How do you do this? How should we do this?
I think I had to get to this point for me personally of when a thought would come up, like you were saying, that I'm missing out, or is this enough, or I'm falling short.
Yeah.
It had to be a moment of saying, am I in the middle of, for me, God's will, which is a really big question, like centuries old. And how I figure out if I am is to do this work and really narrow in on this framework of, okay, time. I cannot physically do that with the time I'm allotted. When I had young kids at home, there were certain things I just could not do. I cannot physically be in two places at once. That's really obvious. If I look at my calendar and at 5:00 I have something and a friend says, can you do this at 5:00? It's very clear that is not for me. And I could be sad. I'm allowed to be sad. We don't recognize there is the physical time, but there's the mental time that we are so cluttered by. I mean, I was interacting with someone, they're like, I just think people are lazy in their thinking. And I'm like, I don't think they're lazy. I think their brains are full and they're fully distracted. And so I think for me, I have to even mute the social media. Like you were saying, how does that play in? To take a day off, I set timers on my social media and it lets me know you've spent more than an hour today here. And that's my own boundary lines of time, but not just physical time I'm on it, mental energy that's comparing and feeling less than, instead of, look who I am with right now. I can only at 1 millisecond be in one place. And is my brain thinking about a future thing, a past thing? How can I be fully present where I am?
Are you looking for a hydration brand that fuels your well-being and provides essential vitamins to keep you at your best? Look no further than Liquid IV and their Hydration Multiplier. With just one stick, you can get the hydration you need to stay at the top of your game with 2 times faster hydration than water alone. And with 5 essential vitamins included in every stick, you can be sure you're getting the nutrients you need to stay healthy and strong. Whether you're starting your day, hitting the gym, feeling run down, recovering from a long night out, or traveling on a long flight, Liquid IV has you covered. And with 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to choose from, you can keep your hydration routine exciting and enjoyable. As someone who just finished half marathon training, I know how important it is to stay hydrated and keep my energy levels up. And with Liquid IV, I've noticed a significant improvement in both. My favorite flavor is pina colada. I would also say I really love tropical punch. But with so many great options to choose from, you'll be sure to find one that you love too. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MINIMALIST at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MINIMALIST at liquidiv.com. Have you ever considered why laundry detergent is packaged in large plastic jugs? They are heavy, bulky, and filled with mostly water, which seems like an unnecessary expense. Furthermore, a staggering 91% of these jugs are not recycled, leading to 700 million ending up in landfills annually. However, simply stopping doing laundry is obviously not an option, and that's why I recommend switching to EarthBreeze. EarthBreeze's Eco Sheets resemble dryer sheets, but are actually laundry detergent that dissolves entirely in any wash cycle, hot or cold, with no measuring or mess. So I used to waste detergent from the jug, and I find it so much more convenient to toss in half a sheet. In fact, I took EarthBreeze to a friend's house while house sitting. I left them behind, and my friend loved them so much that she now uses them exclusively. That's how good they are. But don't just take my word for it. You should try it for yourself with their risk-free 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't like it, EarthBreeze will give you a full refund, no questions asked, and no return necessary. So switch from the old-fashioned goo to something new. Right now, my listeners can subscribe to EarthBreeze and save 40%. Go to earthbreeze.com/minimalist to get started. That's earthbreeze.com/minimalist for 40% off. earthbreeze.com/minimalist. I do want to talk about those 4 boundaries you have in your book. So time, and then what are the other 3?
Place. And that could be a physical, like where your 2 feet are, your neighborhood, your city, your state, whatever. You could keep going bigger. It's also place, like position, work, roles. I think some people really have to dig into their need for significance. And that is not wrong to say you need a significant role. It's just be aware of it. Name it. I need to be doing something in my life that's significant. What is that thing? Because if you don't name it and you don't make that a priority, you will try to take other things and make them significant. You will try, if it's your kids, you'll try to make trophy children. If it's you're even, whatever organization you're a part of, you'll make that. It's like, figure out yourself and figure out how that plays into place. Your wiring and your giftedness. I think that Gen Z and millennial generations are better at this than probably my generation and my parents, but really knowing how you're made, recognizing that possibly the thing you're really great at was labeled negatively in your past, or you're discounting it as important because it comes so easily. I see that with friends, like I'll compliment them or I'll go to them for a certain thing, and it's so easy for them that they don't see it as valuable. So consider, what are your friends constantly coming to you for? And own that. That's part of this space that you've been given. And then your experiences, positive and negative.